Hey, Shalom. My video cut out, so what I'm doing is making a part two to it. It's not going to be too long. I just wanted to read some scriptures. I was thinking about just posting the scriptures at the bottom of the page, and I thought, you know what? I'd rather just read it. Okay. Now, because a guy here made a few comments, he said that because of this so-called threat of a T attack within the next 6 months, right? Uh, they're going to deploy lots more officers. Some are going to be undercover, and there's going to be a lot more authority presence on the police. A lot more so-called government official, police force, and other kinds of officials on the street are going to be present. Which, and he also alluded to the fact that they're going to throw their weight around in terms of if you watch what I've recorded, screen recorded, he's going to mention the fact that he's also said that they're going to have powers which are going to be out of the norm. In not so many words, he didn't say the way I'm saying it, but I read, took the meat from the bones, so to speak, where he's saying that they're going to do what the F they want. All right, especially when it comes down to clamping down on T people. Okay, now let me just go to. All right, what did he say? Okay, now second Israel. Okay, undercover, the officers. Oh yeah, and he talked about T people, right? So-called Muslims. Not that we give a shit about any Muslim or any ISH person, right? Don't give a shit about none of them. But who's the biggest T in this world? Is the ISH 1948er? Okay, that so-called land they claim to be the people. He has never seen peace, just like America. In this so-called Caucasian Edomite rulership, when has there ever been peace? When do they ever leave anybody alone? You know, who are the biggest T people in this world? Who has got receipts all over the earth? Who has got blood receipts everywhere? Destruction receipts everywhere. Amalek, Esau, Edom, they're all part and parcel as one because they're the same damn people. But Amalek is right at the top. Those people that get those non-stop benefits. Okay? Okay? In the land that they reside in right now, where the biggest rainbow parade city is, in Tel Aviv. Okay? Who's the biggest T people? Okay? Now let's go to some scriptures. Let's go to Ephesians 5:15. All right, now these T attacks, things are coming because we're coming to a close of this world, Esau's world. So a lot of things are about to happen. All right, I've already made an 18-minute video. The first one is this is just going to finish up with the scriptures. Ephesians 5:15. See then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise. Verse 16. Okay, Ephesians 5:15. See then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise. Circumspect meaning keep your head on a swivel, look around you. You know, use your what's that term, peripheral. Now, if you're a boxer or a martial artist, you're always watching people, how close they come near you. When they come up to you to ask the time, even you're looking into their hands, their eyes, their shoulders, how they're moving. Okay, you're being circumspect. You're being wise because you don't know what this motherfucker might try and jump at you. You know, you got to be ready. You know, ready to keep your hands up. You know, okay. So that's meaning circumspect, watching where you go. You're not constantly looking at your mobile phone. The hopeful elect don't look at their phones like that when they walk the street. They walk with their head up. They might listen to music. They might listen to a lesson. They might type in something while they're walking to put their AirPods in to listen to something, but they're not going to be constantly gazing at this screen like a bunch of dumbasses like the rest of this world is. Where I've seen numerous people almost get knocked down because they're not paying attention. All right? Okay? That's another example of being circumspect. Don't look at your damn phone all the time unless you absolutely have to. All right? Go out at certain times. Come back home at certain times. Change your routine because this ain't the 80s or the 90s anymore. This ain't that fun-loving world. Not that it was perfect back then. It was effed up back then too, because I remember. But it was more livelier. Okay? People cared a little bit more. But not as they don't give a shit now. Because people are worried about their own. What's that term? Charity starts at home. Indeed it does. All right? Okay? Verse 16, redeeming the time because the days are evil. The days are evil. Bad times are coming. Okay, not for the elect, but for the rest of the world there is. You 2/3, pursuant to Zechariah 13:8 and 13:9. Okay, 1/3 is going to get through the elect. The other 2/3 are going to be deleted. All right. and also the unelect Jakes around the world, because the 2/3 are in America, but the rest of the world is Israelites everywhere. They're going to get it. All right. But you elect are going to be good money, and your faith is being built up daily. Okay. Uh, you know, Revelation 12 verse 12 lets you know that, the devil hath but a short time. So they're going to speed up and get busy. That's why all these things there are skirmishes and scuffles, and these little things are happening around the world. All right, especially America and ground zero Babylon and England, which are like brother and sister. Things are happening. As Benjamin would say, things are going. Is it things are going, or is it, things are happening? Maybe I use the wrong patwa there. Okay, let's go to just a couple of scriptures I want to read, man. So, just bear with me. I'm just going to get it up. Get this scriptures up. 2 Corinthians 2:11. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. The elect are not ignorant of Satan's devices, man. All right? We know what they're about. We know what time it is. We know where we are. We know who we are. We know where we're at, and we know where we're going. How? In the spirit and power of Yahweh B'Shem Yashai, and also following the prophecies. But how do we know about these things? Through our prophets and elders, the elders and prophets of Great Millstone, the men of Yahweh B'Shem Yashai, that we've been watching and learning from, because they're the mouthpiece of Yahweh B'Shem Yashai. They're his men. And the rest of us students, Israelites, Israelite foreigners are learning. Okay? It's a checklist. The prophecies are a checklist to let you know where you are and what point in history you're at right now. Okay? We're coming to the end of this world, man. 2 Ezra 6 verse 9. For Esau, the so-called white man, is the end of the world. And Jacob, you Israelites, is the beginning of it that followeth. You so-called blacks, Hispanics, and native Indians. And you Israelite foreigners that are scattered to the four corners of the earth, pursued to Deuteronomy 28 verse 64. And you're not ignorant of Satan's devices. The elect, the hopeful elect, you know what? They already passed a little test. Let's just say a mock exam. They already passed the test. They didn't take the wacky tacky snake piss, as Bishop Menatazak would say. They didn't take the POISON, pushed by Dr. What's his name? Dr. Falsey. I'll say that. All right. Or the World or WHO, World Health Organization. They didn't take that snake piss during the 1-9 thing. Okay, because the hopeful elect, we're not ignorant of Satan's devices. Okay. Now he talked about more presence of officers and things like that on the street. That's alluding to martial law, which I believe is 2 Ezra 15, right? I did paraphrase Revelation 12 verse 12. Is it 2 Ezra 15, 14 or 14, 15? Let me just try this one first. Yeah, 2 Ezra 15, 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. All right, because people are taking sides already. The gangs in America, they want to put their rags down. I just saw a little interview yesterday, a show on YouTube with the Spider Loke, a Crip. If you know Spider Loke from the G Unit days, right? And another old school blood. They're talking about man growing old and putting the rags down and coming together. You're not going to grow old in this world because this kingdom is done. But I'm just saying, brothers putting their rags down and coming together as one is a good sign. Okay. Because Judah is a lion's whelp, and who's going to rouse him up? Who's going to wake up Jake, man? You Jakes are going to get it together, man, when that time comes. All right. For the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. And in the UK, the Muslims are going to stand together. The Pakistanis, the Arabs, the Turks, the Somalians, they're all going to come together because they've got that religion in it that brings them together in one banner. Then you got the rest of the brown people. They're going to, other nations, you got Jake, Israelite foreigners, you got visible Jake, They're going to come together. I would say more than likely, most people are color are going to come together against Esau Edom. Then once they deal with Esau Edom, then they're going to start going against each other. That could be the case. I don't know. We'll see how it goes down. All right. Um, because you got people of color that are Muslims, and you got people of color that are not even connected to that nonsense. All right. And then you got Jake on both sides. Let's see how the Lord plays this one out. Okay. And they're going to come together, man, because, Esau Edom is frustrated. They're losing their kingdom. They're not getting their jobs. They're losing their power. They're seeing too many dark faces in the high streets and their stores, and not that there's many stores around, or walking around, being successful, driving Beamers and Benzes, and Esau Edom is begging for change. Why? Because these curses are coming upon you, honkies. Now, Deuteronomy 30 verse 7. These curses are coming upon you. All right, and so it's a war between the haves and the have-nots, which has always been the case since the beginning of time, but it's really going to amplify now because we're at the end. And this world is not going to end. When I said Second Ezra, when I read Second Ezra, or when I paraphrased Second Ezra 6 verse 9, for Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning of that followeth. No, what the case is that management is going to change. All right, the world the world is going to be refreshed. It's not going to blow up like in these crazy Armageddon type movies, that Esau Edom's been making since the late 90s or even prior to that. Okay. Verse 16, for there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. They don't give a shit about Trump. They don't give a shit about King Charles. They don't give a shit about the Queen. They don't give a shit about Keir Starmer. They're already spitting at him, telling him to get out of their pubs. They don't regard their kings nor princes or heads of state anymore. They don't give a shit. They make fun of him, make caricatures of him. If you grew up in the UK, you remember a show called Spitting Image. They took the piss out of the Queen. This is like down there 35, 40 years ago. They were taking the piss out of them. Right? Sedition. What does sedition mean? People are coming together and talking. Let me get the definition of sedition out of my phone. 1 second. Definition of sedition. Sedition. Sedition is the act of inciting rebellion, resistance, or insurrection against an established government through speeches, writing, or organization. Let me read that again. And this is happening a lot amongst skinhead groups, amongst Muslim groups, amongst these ISH 1948ers, the ones with the black the black hats. Sedition is the act of inciting rebellion, resistance, or insurrection against an established government through speeches, writing, or organization. And the next level is going to be what? Violence. It involves behavior intended to persuade others to oppose or overthrow authority, often including subversive acts that promote public disorder. Okay? Key synonyms include insurrection, revolt, rebellion, subversion. Okay? And the good one, mutiny. You know? Like those old school movies back in the day, one of those pirate movies from the 1950s and shit. 1940s, I used to watch as a child during the summer holidays. There's a mutiny on that shit, like those Bob Hope type movies back in the day. Anyway, that's just me thinking out loud. Nevertheless, for there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. That's that martial law. Didn't he say there's going to be a lot more presence of authorities and police and shit, undercover and visible too? Right? Revelation 12 verse 12, the devil hath to for a short time. They're going to get busy. All right? And let me read that one more scripture I was going to read, which is going to be this was on my mind. I thought I'd just read it. There's others too, but you can't make the video too long. Isaiah 46 and 10, declaring the end from the beginning and from ancient times, the things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand, I will do all my pleasure. Declaring the end from the beginning and from ancient times, the things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure. What's the next verse? Isaiah 46. Okay, now, verse 10 is enough. All right, so, Big things are gone, as Benjamin would say. Things are about to go down, man. Anyway, I'm gonna leave it there now. All praise to Yahweh Bashem Yashai, Bashem Rakakwadash. Keep your head on a swivel. Keep an eye on the news. You know, as Denzel Washington would say in Training Day, it's 90% bullshit, but it's entertaining, true. But it's also you got to pick the meat from the bones as well from this news, okay? All right, and align it with prophecy you don't understand. Pray to Yahweh Bashem Yashai. The Lord will put a spirit in one of our prophets and elders and prophets of Great Millstone, and they're going to make a video probably within a couple of hours. You're going to get your answer, man. The Lord does that because these are spiritual gifts the Lord's giving you, man. Answers to give you your spiritual compass or not what to let you know what time it is. But anyway, all praises to Yahweh Bashem Yashai, Bashem Rakakadash, Muatha Bad Babal, Kwam Yashrala, Shalom.